Hi, are you coming to see me or take this? Okay. Come on in. Come in. Sure. Okay. Come on in. Come in. If you guys need some handouts, Suzanne's printing now. Okay.
Oh, thank you. Do we? I need one, actually.
Good idea, right?
Yeah.
You want mine to become a stock?
Sure. Because we'll get into this in a minute.
Yeah.
Thank you.
Yes. What the breaks are. I just gave you mine.
Okay. How's everybody doing? All right, you ready to have some fun? Today is about actual leveling up your skills, okay? It's not about the law of it. It's not about why. It's none of that, okay? Because you guys should already know about all that. Yes?
Yes.
Okay, we know why we're at where we're at. We know what we need to do. Now it's the how do I sell this to a buyer when I'm in a consultation, right? That's the meat of where we have to go, okay? And what kind of commission? What kind of commission are we going to ask for, right? All right.
There's another one coming.
Okay. So those of you that, yeah, what's up? Oh, the paper. Oh, okay. All right. So those of you that don't know me, I'm Ricky Camus, president of EPiQ Lending. I've been selling, since I was about 2. I was the youngest of 4, and I had to sell at every opportunity I got, right? So I got really good at it. Funny though that what life takes a turn. Okay, because since I can remember, literally since I can remember, all I wanted to do was be a SWAT captain for Phoenix PD. It's all I wanted to do since I was little. There was no cowboys and Indians for me. It was cops and robbers, and I was always the cop, right? So high school, I trained. I was in martial arts. I lifted weights. I wrestled. Everything to prepare me to be a police officer, right? Then I went in the military. And because with Phoenix PD at the time, this is in the 90s, you had to be 20 and a half to start the academy. Well, I graduated at 17, so I had some time, right? And when you test for PD, you get points. You get more points if you have a military background. So I'm like, okay, I'm going to go in the military for 4 years. I'll get out at 21, almost 22, and then go straight to the PD. And I actually got an early out, 90 days early from my ETS date to start the academy. So I get out, right out of the military. I come home from North Carolina, and I'm studying, right? I'm studying and studying. While I'm doing this process, I had to have a job. Right? So I started working at the gym, selling memberships because I needed somewhere to work out, but I was military, so I was broke. I didn't have any money, right? And I wasn't making money, so I was like, okay, I'll go get paid to work out. So I went to the gym. So I could work out while I was going through this testing phase for Phoenix PD. I get all the way through the process, get accepted to the academy. And that Friday, I was supposed to go Monday, that Friday, I get my first commission check at the gym. And because I've been selling since I was literally could probably talk, I was really good at it. And I didn't even know how many people I was signing up. They were just signing up. So I was like, hey, you need to work out. They're like, no, I don't. I'm like, why not? And then I would just keep asking why, because I don't take no for an answer. And I get this commission check, and I'm like, I walk into the manager. I said, hey, I think they paid me wrong. It was like $8,000. I'm 21 years old with an $8,000 commission check. I'm like, from selling memberships, right? And he shows me this big, long list of people that I sold. He goes, we've never seen this for somebody that just started. And I call my recruiter, and I was like, look, I know you want me to come Monday, but what do we start at again? He's all excited. It's like, it's $19.75 an hour. And then you're going to get lots of overtime. And I go, well, what's the max we can make? He goes, well, we've got guys here making $70,000 a year. I was like, looking at my check, grab my calculator. I'm like, man, you're going to hate me. I'm not coming. So I didn't go. I stayed at the gym for 5 years and went deep into sales. I ended up getting my first club like 3 months later, and then I took over the region at like 22 years old, right? Which was a big deal back then because Bally's was the number one chain. Above everybody in the 90s, they were it, right? And they sold 3-year contracts. I can't tell you how many people, when I was in the mortgage industry, I saw a collection for Bally's, right? Because they're like, I'm not paying this anymore.
Were you at the corner of Cactus and Cave Creek?
I was 75th and Bell was my last club. Funny, yes. Yes. So that started my sales career, okay? And if you know anything about the gym industry, it's a lot of phone work. If you're not showing somebody around the club, you're on the phone trying to get people to come in the club. And I was just that guy. Like, if you told me, listen, you're not making money unless you're on the phone, I'm like, okay, I'm going to be on the phone then, right? So I spent all that time doing that. When I got in the mortgage industry, it was such a natural transition because it's all sales. We're all in sales, right? You have to sell renters and buyers and sellers, and we're constantly selling. But it's how, right? How are some people closing 100 and 200 million a year in real estate, and then there's others working just as many hours but are closing 2 million? What's the difference? Right? Well, I'll tell you. The difference is, number one, they have more contacts. They make more contacts. And number two, they know what to say. Right? It's all in the words you say. Okay? So, this is a really good opportunity for you with this buyer-broker agreement because a lot of and I'm hearing this in every market we're in. Buyers agents are afraid they're not going to be able to get paid on their deals now. When really, I mean, is that the case? Is that really the case? Honestly? No. Just because the news says it doesn't mean it's true. We all agree with that, right? The news kind of lies a little bit, okay? So, but they are talking about how home prices are going to go down because the seller doesn't have to pay as much. What does that actually mean? Okay. It's like, okay, wait a minute. Because now you have to pay the buyer's agent over here, it's going to cause them to drop the price of their house? I just don't think so, right? Supply and demand is not going to allow any of this anyway, okay? So I wanted to give you just some insight into why I'm here to help you with this. In our business, in the mortgage industry, we've had to sell the buyer agreement the entire time, okay? When you're in lending, as a matter of fact, I'll give you a live case right now. I've got a buyer in Phoenix. I'm her third lender, okay? So shopper to deather, that's what we call them. I gave it to her. I mean, I beat this other quote by a lot. Yeah, okay, yeah, let's lock it. We're locked in. All this stuff happens yesterday. This morning, anytime they say, hey, can you send me the LE? Well, oh, shit. Here we go. I'm like, is there something on it that you need to know? Right? Because I want to know. She's like, no, I just need a copy of it. I'm like, okay. Loan estimate.
Okay.
It's basically what we agreed to. Well, I know what she's doing. Right? She's taking it back to the other two.
Yeah.
Right? But in our world, that's just how our world works. Right? So we've had to be really good at not only selling ourselves and our service and our experience and our authority in the business, and we're going to close on time and all this stuff, but we have to beat the other person who said, hey, I'll do it for $500 less. And we deal with that all the time since day one that I was in this business. You haven't really had to deal with that, right? You get a buyer, you got the buyer, right? You're going to show them houses and you're going to get paid. Now, transition to today. You meet a buyer today, and if you just come out of the gate and say, hey, you owe me 18 grand if the seller doesn't pay, what are they going to say? Whoa, what? I do what? I have to what? Oh, hold on a minute. I'm going to go look around a little bit, see what else I can get. See if somebody can do it for 17.5 and then maybe 17 and 16. And it's a race to what? The bottom, right? And you're going to deal with that. But how do you deal with that? That's why we're here, okay? How you set this up is why we're here. Because here's the thing. Once you get people to commit, once they're committed, psychologically committed, they're going to use you. It'll be rare that someone will walk out on you and not sign your buyer broker agreement if you get them to psychologically commit. But you've got to follow a process, okay? And you've got to follow the same process, same way every time. Doesn't matter who it is. The laydowns are the worst, okay? The laydowns are people who don't know how to say no, and they're just going to sign your agreement, and then what are they going to do to you?
Sign everybody else's.
Ghost.
Yeah.
You signed them up for 90 days. They set a timer, and they're never going to talk to you again. But now they know the process, right? It's like, okay, I'm going to have to pay 18 grand, whatever it is, right? And now I'm going to shop it around, okay? Well, we've got to get good at, number one, getting people to like and trust us right away. Right away. If you're going to ask for that kind of money, they need to trust you, and more importantly, they need to like you. Have you ever handed somebody 15 grand that you didn't like? You probably did on accident, and you didn't like them after. But up front, it was like, okay, here, yeah, you're cool. And then something happened, and you're like, oh man, I wish I could have my money back, right? It's going to be really difficult for that to happen in this, okay? So, all right, I'm gonna race through this front part. You guys want to be out of here in an hour, right? We good on that?
2 hours.
Are you guys good on 2 hours? I'm going to be here. I'm not leaving till 2. So y'all can hang with me? All right, cool. All right. So, you have the power over your mind, not outside events. You couldn't control this stuff happening, right? Realize this, and you will find strength. Marcus Aurelius is one of my favorite philosophers. I read all the stuff. I thought this was fitting for y'all, okay? Because we went through this in 2009, right? Where we had a big shakeup in the mortgage industry. And by the way, back then, there was over 1 million loan officers nationwide. After licensing in 2009, it was less than 500,000. That fast, okay? But it was what came with it. Not just the licensing, but you actually had to be a good person. I mean, go figure, right? Like felonies, you know, things like that. You can't get a license unless you're, you know, XYZ, things like that, right? So we went through this. You're seeing this already, and it's only been a week or two, right? Since it went into place. You're already seeing some people not renewing their licenses. Well, why though? Why? Why is it so hard to have that conversation about you getting paid for the job you picked to do? Why is that? It's simple. You haven't had to do it before. It's simple. When you ask somebody and you say, hey, this home is $500,000, my commission is $15,000. If the seller doesn't pay it, you're paying it. That's a hard conversation unless you know how to have the conversation, right? But you got to build up to it. Any of you ever buy a new car? That should be everybody, right? When you go to the car lot and you say, I want to look at this, Mercedes, whatever, do they just say, yeah, it's over there? Or what do? They sit you down, they ask you why that car, what about the car do you like, and then what? You get in it. They hand you the keys, right? So you're taking ownership. Those are all tactics. And then they drive you around and they're asking you questions. They're building rapport while you're in the car. You don't even know it. You already bought the car, right? They know it. They can tell. Now it's just about a what? A number. That's it. Right? And they're asking you leading questions. Oh, what were you expecting this thing to cost you every month? Oh, I don't know, $300? Okay, we're in the wrong car. Everybody laughs, right? So they're asking you these leading questions, right? So we got to get good at that as well. Okay. All right. So poll of potential buyers. Who do you feel the services? Why do you feel the services of real estate are not necessary when buying a home? 45% because I can find homes for myself online and tour at open houses. How many of you have heard that recently? I have multiple times. I've seen it. I've seen people post about this stuff. Not agents. I'm talking, people outside the industry who are kind of in the market. They're like, yeah, what do I need an agent for? Well, until when? Exactly, right? 38% because it seems simpler to me to just work with the agent representing the seller. Why not? Right? 17% because I don't think what real estate agents do is hard, and I'm confident I can do it myself. You need to know what's out there and what people are saying so you can develop your scripts around it. Do you know the best time to overcome an objection? Before it's an objection. So you have to know these things so you can weave it into your conversation. Yeah, you know what, Mr. Buyer, it's crazy that people think that they can just find a home online and just go tour these open houses. I just can't believe people even think like that. Can you? Well, now you won't come up with that objection because you're going to be a part of those crazy people. Right? Yeah. You know what's even dumber than that is people think it's simpler to just go to the seller. Right? That's crazy. Why would you go to the person who wants to get the most for the house? Isn't that, I just can't even believe that people would think that. Now, see what I'm doing? I'm overcoming this stuff before, but they're all thinking it. And they might have been thinking it. You don't know. But you ripped it out. You choked it and you buried it right in front of them without them even knowing you did it. Okay? Know your worth. How many of you have your why speech? Your why me speech? How many of you have one? How many of you have thought about having one? How many of you have ever heard of having one? Am I going to strike a chord here soon? So, the why me? Why you? Let's start here. Why you? Why would I hire you to be my buyer's agent?
I can get you from start to finish. That will give you peace of mind. I'll take care of all the details. You don't have to worry anything about the process.
Okay? Who else wants to try?
Negotiate. I can negotiate well for you.
I'm on your
Train
side.
I'm on your side. I can negotiate. I'm going to handle all the details. Okay, guys.
I work for you.
Okay. Hear me on this. Okay, this is really important. All that's great. But you're talking to me as if I know what any of that even means.
Right.
You're saying these things, you're saying things that don't mean much to me. I obviously know what you mean, right? I've been at this a minute. You're talking to people who've never bought a house before, right? Or if they have, it was 10 years ago and who knows what happened at that deal, right? You need to get really granular on why you. Okay?
Through the steps and buying a home.
Why me for a loan? You guys want to hear it?
Yes.
Okay. I've been in this business 25 years. There isn't a loan I haven't seen or done. I've closed over 3,000 loans successfully, and never have I closed a loan late. Can you imagine you're in the middle of a process, you're moving vans out front, and you get declined? Well, I'm the guy they call to get you approved. Now, depending on who it is, what type of loan it is, right? VA, I say something completely different. I served 4 years with the 82nd Airborne Division. I've done 10 VA loans for myself personally, right? I've done hundreds of VA loans. I don't care what you look like profile-wise, I'm going to get your loan done. That's the guy you need to work with. Now, let me back up, and I'm going to say a couple of things y'all said, okay? So I'm going to restart with why me? I'm going to take care of all the details. It's going to be a seamless process, and I'm going to help you negotiate the best rate possible with the 15 banks that I'm signed up with. Which guy do you want to work with? Think about it.
The negotiator? I don't know.
Guy with the experience.
I want the guy with the experience. Okay, let me back up. I'm a brain surgeon. Okay? I'm a brain surgeon. You're coming in to get brain surgery from me. Now, I'm the first guy. I've been doing brain surgery for 25 years. I've done tens of thousands of surgeries. There's nothing I'm going to open up that I haven't seen. You're safe with me. Now, this guy. You know what? I just graduated. I'm really excited for my first one. I know the most technical, you know. Who do you want?
Bye.
Who do you want?
Experience.
Experience. So, you got to understand, and we're going to get into the psychology of all this in a little bit. You have to understand that there's certain levels of influence that cause you to do things. Okay? One of the top, there's 6. One of the top is authority. People will work with you if they think you are the authority in whatever subject. Yours is real estate. The top influence, number 1. Anybody have a guess? That influences you to do something.
Trust.
Nope.
Similar, being alike.
What's up?
Being alike.
Experience.
Ooh. Good. No.
Experience.
Reciprocity.
Reciprocity.
Think about it. I gave you something without asking for anything, by the way. And these are all tactics, you guys. So I gave you something. You came in to meet with me. You're a new buyer. You came in to meet with me, and I had a cool little package for you, all ready to go. It's got your name on it. It's got your kids' names because I looked you up, right? And it's got some cool stuff, and I hand it to you. Like, hey, thank you for coming in and spending some time with me. You automatically feel obligated to me because I gave you something. What do you call people? What do you call people who take and don't give back? Is that a good term for somebody? Right? Reciprocity. Okay? The second one, and we'll go deep on all this stuff, but the second one is liking. Liking. This group worked with me. Yelp. Y'all read reviews anytime you go somewhere? And you look at the number of stars? There's a reason that works. They said it's good, it must be good. Right? So that's number 2. So reciprocity and liking. And all these things you can speak to within your why me. Okay? Now the reciprocity piece can be something really little. Okay? You could give them a mint when they walk in, but the fact that you gave them something, that's all that matters. Okay? So keep that in mind. All right? Okay. So, know your worth. You're all expert negotiators. Expert guidance. Problem solving through the deal. Right? Anybody ever have a deal that didn't have a freaking problem on it? I mean, God bless you if you did. Every deal's got something. Right? Inspection, termite, name it. Something's up. Okay? And you have to guide and weave and go through the maze to get to the end to close. Right? But if you're not talking about these things, what do people think? They think you unlock a door and they just go check it out and, oh, I love this, and then sign a contract to buy it. Is that reality? God, wouldn't that be nice? Oh, man, that would be great. But then everybody would be doing this business. That's how easy it would be. No, you got to walk through, you got to tell them all the stuff, you got to point things out, all these little intricate things that you probably don't even realize you're doing. And you probably don't even realize how valuable it actually is. Because you just do it. But this person over here, who's never bought a house, they don't know any of that. They don't even know they're going to walk into it. You have to talk about it. You have to tell them up front. This is all building your value. Right? You can't build the value after it's done. It's too late. Okay? Contracts, transaction process, stress reduction, that was your thing. Objective guidance, and your team. Y'all have a team. Whether you're solo or not, you have a team. There's a team here that works for you every single day. Right? Use that. Use that as a part of part of your script. Okay? All right. Building your team. Do y'all realize that you're the driver of the bus? Yes? Really? Y'all realize this? Everybody else is a seat on your bus. You get that, yes? You pretty much dictate who lender's going to be, who the inspector's going to. Don't you call the inspector and say, hey, go inspect this house? Your contractors, they don't go in. You call the contractor to come in and do whatever bins or stuff, right? Your TCs, your insurance agents, your financial advisors. This is your team. What I see as a lot of agents do, you don't lead your team. You don't lead your team. But why? Why wouldn't you meet with your lender on at least a bi-monthly basis and go through all the nuances of because I'm telling you, every day, the industry changes for us. Every single day. There's some new letter of something you can or can't do, right? Why wouldn't you meet with them to have them talk you through that, and then you talk them through your newest thing so you guys are on the same page? Why don't we do that? Ask yourself. You got to lead your team, okay? Why is this important? When you're sitting with this new buyer and you're talking about why you, can you not talk about your team that you've assembled? Do you know how valuable that is? That these people work for you? And here's what I do to manage all of the expectations, because I have the highest level of expectations for my clients, and they better treat you this, blah, 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 right? They better do this, 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 that, and this. If they don't update you, they're going to hear it from me. You know, that kind of thing. You follow me? These are all things that you can talk about up front, which builds your value. So when it comes to pulling out this agreement, it's a lot easier to talk about now, isn't it? Okay? All right. I'm going to send this to you so you don't have to sit here and read it.
Can't read it anyway.
I'm going to send you this whole thing too, by the way, so you guys can play with it and practice it. And I got you scripts and objections and all kinds of stuff. Okay? These are the things you do for a buyer. That's a lot. Do you even realize some of this stuff? We're not done. Now, if you can't speak to these things, it's only because you haven't practiced it. That's it. Now, how many of you are in this kinda? How many of you are kinda doing real estate? Honest?
Yeah,
Honest? You raise your hand too?
yeah. Still switching between companies.
Oh, where are you at?
At Keller Williams.
Oh, congrats, making the move. Good for you. But you're in real estate,
Yeah.
so you're not kinda in real estate.
Well, yeah, I kind of took time.
Oh, you took some time off?
Yeah.
That's okay.
6 months.
All right, how many of you are full-time? Let me ask that. Ooh, quite a bit of you. Okay. So now that we've said we're full-time, how many of you really, truly are money motivated? Okay, if you had no money, would you be more motivated? Okay, so you're all money motivated, but it's not what's making you do this. Yes? Okay. How many of you want to be a top producer? Really? I mean, don't just half-ass raise your hand. Sorry for the camera. Don't half it. How many of you want to be a top producer?
She does.
Okay. Okay. Now, being a top producer means you're at the top of your game in this industry, which means you're doing what others won't do on a regular basis. Yes?
Yes.
We all agree with that definition. And we all agree that what it takes to be a top producer is a lot more than we ever expected it to take. Right? It's not easy getting 4, 5, 10 deals a month to close. It's not easy. It's not easy packaging up a bunch of listings. That's hard. Yes?
Yep.
Now, would you also agree if you practiced more, you would probably be doing more?
And have better systems.
100%.
Yeah.
And systems on everything you do. We were just talking about a system that I've used for 2 decades. And because I'm so, I don't know if you could tell, I'm pretty scattered. But when I'm in something, I'm laser focused, right? Like I'm laser focused, but I still see over there that something needs to be done, and my eye catches over there. The Pomodoro technique fixed that for me, okay? The Pomodoro technique, it's 25-5, 25-5, 4 times, and then an hour off. That's the Pomodoro technique in short form, okay? You basically do 25 minutes, and you take a 5-minute break. My 5-minute breaks are burpees, push-ups, crunches. Like I do physical stuff to get the blood flowing, right? Because I'm just that guy. And then it's back at it for another 25 minutes. And you'd be surprised when you get down and drop and you do 100 push-ups and all that oxygen is flowing, how much more motivated you are that next 25 minutes. It's crazy. Like if you haven't tried it, try it, okay? Now, what would you use that on? Script practice, building systems, fixing your database. If you don't have a database, guys, we need to do a whole other class on that because I call it a data bank. You should be getting about 30% of your business from the people you know and who know you. You know why you're not? You're not asking. You're not asking. You're not sending timely things to them, right? You don't know their kids' names and their kids' ages. You don't know that they have a dog and that maybe the dog just died. Like, those little things matter to people. You know how many calls I got on the day my bulldog died? It was a couple weeks ago. And I remember every single person who called me. And text me. Like it was hundreds, right? Because I'm really good with my database and I connect with people, right? And I talk about things I know they like. One of them's dogs. People love dogs. I loved my dog, right? So think about that. Think about what's important to them, not you. What's important to them, and touch those points, okay? Why is all this important? You're going to be talking about it when you're in front of them, building your value. These are all things I talk about, right? I care so deeply about you, I want to even know your cat's name. And they're like, how'd you know I have a cat? I flip my screen around, I show them Facebook. And they're sitting there petting a cat, right? Okay. All right. We all know the rules. We don't have to go through this. If you don't know the rules, I'll send this to you, but we'll skip this, okay? Because basically, it's you have to get a buyer-broker agreement signed before you show them property. Yeah. Let's just call it that, okay? All right. I'm not a lawyer. I just pulled all this stuff up, and this was one thing I always point out, because this was something that Biden had made remarks on. Lowering housing costs for American families. Now, why did he say that? Well, okay. Okay. Bad slide. Bad slide. Okay. I'm gonna say basically the reason they're saying these things is because they think they don't have to pay your buyer's agent anymore. So there goes $18,000, and that's going to come off the price of the house all of a sudden. Well, these people are all in ivory towers. They pay cash for $10 million properties. They don't know about us. They don't know what we do and what we go through and how we had to save and grandma had to die for us to get some money to put a down payment on a house, let alone pay cash. Right or right? That's true. They think that the DOJ had some big epiphany on it's too expensive to buy real estate because you're paying a listing agent and a selling. They had this big thing. It's ridiculous. It's absolutely ridiculous. We all know that. But don't we also know that there is a group of people that do follow the news and believe everything it says? Do we not know that? Do we not all have friends that are like that? Whether you claim them or not. Right? So just know it going into these conversations with people so you can address it before it addresses you. And then you're on your heels. And you go, because you don't know what to say. Address it first. Because that's where the power is. Okay? All right. All right, let's see. We all know about the concessions now, yes? Is everybody up to speed on seller concessions and how that works?
No.
No? Okay. Okay. This is a good slide. So, this is the down payment on the left-hand corner here. Okay, if it's a primary, a second home, or investment, those are the different brackets. The percentage in here is the amount of concessions they can get.
This is in here.
No, but I'm gonna send you this link.
Oh, she's gonna use- okay.
Yeah, so you'll get it. These are the amount of the concessions they can get towards closing costs. Now, you are now a closing cost. Did you know that? Did you know that your buyer agreement goes on our LE now? And we have to show what you agreed to and what they signed a contract for? Now, what if you got zero? Zero for closing costs, okay, for closing costs. You're at 3%. They have enough for down payment and squeaking closing costs. We had to bump the rate a little bit to drop some stuff and pay for their closing costs, but they were there. And the seller flipped the bird. You get nothing. What do? You know we can't close. You have to give us a new buyer agreement with zero. Because the LE states you are due 3% and the seller's not paying it. Well, we know they don't have it.
So you're committed to our agreement as well?
Mm-hmm.
Oh, I didn't know that.
Wow.
Think hold on. Think about this.
Yeah.
They are in a legal contract to you for 3%.
Right.
You sue them. Where can that end up?
It would be a lien against the property, would it not?
It would end up being a judgment,
Yeah.
which would end up being,
A lien against the property.
we won't allow that. Any way, shape, or form. You got to know this stuff. Now, I'm going to talk through you all on how to navigate that piece of it, because you should have never ended up there.
Yeah. No.
You should have never ended up at that house with that client and that seller not paying anything. You should have never ended up there. Okay? First,
Yeah.
you would have already dejected that one. Okay? And I'll tell you how.
Oh.
Yes.
Concession, it's been a while, so. The seller concession, if they pay the buyer's commission, buyer's agent?
It goes over here.
Together?
Nope, goes over here.
On another.
Okay.
Okay.
So it's not a part of this. At first it was. And then they all of them within a week, all of them, including VA, came out with that it's not a part of the interested party contribution, which is what that is.
Good listing agents want to educate their seller. I mean, eggs are good,
I'm going to talk about that here in a minute. And yes, I agree with you. Yes.
but they are bad listings.
Well,
So,
Explain how we.
I know one specifically in Arizona that is advertising you pay no buyer through no buyer agent through us. $9.95 listing
well, look
fee.
Look at the guy who sued in AR.
Well, that wouldn't cover the selling agent, the listing fee, but what about, the selling agent is saying that? What are you saying?
Yeah, advertising it on TV. Yes,
That all- but they're
you
not
pay no buyer's agent. You will not pay a buyer's agent listing your house with us.
Well, guess what? Go
So
ahead,
who is?
tell us
How-
the rest
how
of
they
that
doing
story.
Tell us how we counteract.
You don't know?
I will. I don't know how he's doing it. I know this guy sells a lot of properties. He's probably number one in the state of Arizona.
What is his name?
It's
Thanks.
72 sold.
Yep.
Greg Haig.
I know a bit about that.
Yeah. He's in
Funny enough.
his own issues right now with Keller, as a matter of fact. Yeah. All right. Okay, we all good on this? Yes or yes?
Yes.
Okay. I can spend more time on it. You let me know. This is your time. Okay? I'm not bound by CE hours, so I can go all over the place with this if you want me to.
I do have a question.
Yeah.
I'm a very seasoned agent. I
'Kay.
haven't put a lot of brain bites to this. I've been on vacation also.
Good for you.
Now I'm digging back in, and you just addressed it, but maybe I was a little confused with the comments and such. Of course, we're all gonna take a BBRA, if I can say it right, at 3%, or I know agents taking it more. And what if, the seller, does not offer that, and you do want to reduce commission? At what point can you amend that? Or, were you saying you can't amend that?
No, you would have to amend it.
Correct. So what is that process?
Tear up the contract.
Tara, do you write that down? Is there an addition?
That's a windy and
Is there a remarks on the next one, this one supersedes the one written on?
So what we've decided that Mark has decided what he's gonna do is you can't, because when they sign that first BBR, it's dated and time. That's like, that is it.
Yeah.
And then you're showing homes. So now if anybody comes and looks into that, now if you change that, make a new one, they know when you first showed homes, so that you're gonna keep that original one, you're going to cross it out, and then have everybody
Okay,
sign.
perfect.
That's right.
Oh, cross,
Yeah.
keep the original.
I'm surprised when they made that form, they didn't have a section.
Adjustment.
Yes, if I ever went on a committee and
Okay,
I,
so also, we're not.
I would go on the finance committee.
We're not putting additional terms in there. Everybody's writing their additional terms, but yes, not right now. We are working with our legal department to put in the additional terms that if the seller doesn't pay the stated commission, whatever that is, the buyer's agent agrees to reduce it not to exceed a certain amount of money, but we have to get that verbiage.
Right, because it's very dangerous.
Everybody's, and right now, you guys, in all of your additional terms, we're getting contracts every day that have
Stop.
things written in there. Do not.
Don't do it.
We will cancel those deals. You cannot write additional terms in there because we are, some of the things that agents are writing, again, remember, I'm a 20-year agent. So I thought the same thing when it came out. I was like, oh no, I'm gonna put some additional terms. And now I'm understanding why we can't. Because every word that we're doing can change what it is, and then we can be sued for something else.
Okay.
So no additional terms just yet. Just know that we're working on verbiage to put in there for additional terms on how we reduce that if the seller's not wanting to pay that.
Okay, but right now it would be across, like
Right
I
now,
work with a lot of
across,
mill guys, I'm not gonna set three,
I can tell you that lawyers are standing by right now
Absolutely.
to sue you over this stuff.
Can I-
Legitimately,
One other
like,
comment.
I want to get my law license because they're making all the money.
Is anybody getting emails saying, and I, as not as a realtor, but just as a person saying, did you buy a home in the last X years? I don't know if any, if you haven't got
Telling
it
you.
yet, I'd be happy to send you, yeah.
All right. So to that point, no, you're good. I'm glad you brought that up because that's really important. Because these are all granular things that will come up that you need to talk about up front when you're with your buyer, not when it comes up. Oh, seller's only offering one, but you owe me 3. What are we going to do about that? I know you don't have the money. Like, how are you going to do that?
No, Nick, you're 100%.
No, you have to do it up front.
Yeah.
Up front. Listen, if you haven't read the book by PBD, you know who that is? Patrick David. It's called 5 Moves Ahead. It changed my literal business. You're with somebody, and everything you can think of, you think 5 moves ahead. When I say this thing, what's going to happen? What are they going to do? What are they going to say? And that's why we practice, right? And then they do this thing, a thing happens, and you think 5 moves ahead. Chess masters, grandmasters, think 15 moves ahead. Think about that.
It's like mirror image.
15 moves ahead. It's how their brains work. We're saying 5. Okay? It's not hard. You just have to consciously make that decision to do it. Okay? And then things like that will come up front, and you've already discussed it. Right? It's a part of your process. Okay? You were talking about systems. It's a part of the way you're running your business. Here's my method. We either meet in person or on Zoom, and we're going to go through this presentation, which I'm on the 1 yard line of completing a buyer agent presentation for you guys that you can just plug all your stuff into. And then plug your stuff. So you're going to want all my stuff up front. You're going to put your stuff in the back, which will be like property stuff and how you're going to, find them the garage that they want, that kind of thing. Okay? But the upfront piece is all about rapport building and building your value. You have to build your value. Okay? All right. Simplifying complex legal language. Now, you give somebody that BBRA and you expect them to understand it, half of us don't even understand it. And we're in this business and been doing it for decades. And we expect somebody who's 3 minutes into this to understand that stuff. You need to dumb this down. Here's a suggestion I have for you. Are any of you using ChatGPT yet? Yes? Yeah. At a good high level? Okay. Have you built your personal profile in ChatGPT yet? No. Okay, you need to do that. So it gets your history. And you put everything in there, right? Then you can put things like your BBRA, upload it in it, and say, I need 5 scripts at a 5th grade level to explain this to my buyers. And it'll break it down for you on how to explain the important key points in your language. But only if you put your profile in there. It needs to know you first. Okay? That's like the proest tip you'll ever get in the next probably 6 months, FYI. Trust me, you're going to love that. Okay? It'll save you a lot of time. Simplifying complex legal language involves breaking down jargon into plain terms, using analogies for clarity, and focusing on the key points to avoid overwhelming clients. For example, compare a buyer-broker agreement to hiring a personal consultant who prioritizes the buyer's needs. This approach ensures clients understand their rights and obligations clearly and confidently. I always use the attorney, right? Because when you go meet with an attorney, what do you pay them after you meet? A retainer. But they don't just walk you in an office and have a swiper and say, pay me a retainer. We know we're going there and going to pay a retainer. We already know that, right? And we know we're going to pay them for something that we could go do ourselves. We could do it. They call it self-representation. I teach a sick divorce class, and the people who are self-represented lose the most. They lose the most.
That's a good one to say.
Why do they lose the most?
They don't
know the process. They don't know how to deal with the judge. And this attorney over here's job is to make you act a fool. And you're going to. He's going to be good at it. And then you're going to lose, right? But we know we're going into that attorney to pay them. Buyers also know they're going to pay you. It's for what and how much. Okay? All right. Ensuring client understanding is crucial. After explaining the BBA, ask the client to summarize their understanding. This is a really important technique, guys. This is a communication technique. You tell them something, and then you ask them for clarification, or you ask them what they heard. Listen, I know this was a lot of information. What did you hear? And you do that a lot through the process, because you know what they're going to retain? What they said back to you. Okay? So when you're going through this, summarize the understanding. Ask them to describe how the agreement protects their interests. Hey, you know, now that we went through this agreement, explain to me how it protects you. If you get the, now you know. Now you know they heard nothing of what you just said, right? And you have to change it up, okay? Confirming they've grasped the key points. Use visual aids like a flow chart showing the step-by-step process of the BBA to illustrate changes clearly. Always encourage questions such as, do you see how this benefits you? And provide clear, straightforward answers to ensure everything is fully understood. Consistent messaging. How do you get to consistent messaging? You practice. You practice a lot. Okay? Consistent messaging is essential. Develop a standard script or key talking points so you explain the new BBA in the same way every time, and you can do it off the top of your head. For example, create a checklist of key benefits that highlights points during discussions. Ensure all team members are aligned with this messaging. Any of y'all have a team that you work on, that people talk to your clients? No? Okay. Ensure all team members are aligned. Holding a team meeting to review and practice the scripts. Those of you that want to be top producers, you're going to have a team. So as you start building and developing this team, it's really important that people are saying the same thing you're saying. You can't have somebody saying something different. It contradicts everything, and then they don't trust you. Okay? Building trust and rapport. Okay. So these strategies are the front end of your process. Okay, so you got the call, somebody wants to buy a house. Now you have to get them to sign an agreement, right? You need to build rapport. Even if it's Aunt Jenny, and as soon as you show Aunt Jenny she owes you 20 grand, you're gonna have words, right? Active listening. Show genuine interest in the client's concerns by actively listening without interrupting. Reflect back what they said, such as, I understand what you're saying. You're concerned about this new process. To demonstrate empathy, validate their feelings by acknowledging your concerns are completely valid and we're here to address them. You need to know these things up front before they leave. If they're having some concern over this, you need to stop. You need to circle back and redevelop your rapport, because something along the way triggered them and they're starting to lose trust. And you'll know that because their body language will completely change. Their tonality, their tone will get a little higher. As you start to notice these things, you'll see what I'm talking about, right? As soon as someone's lying, you go, I didn't do that. It wasn't me, you know. Nobody says, it wasn't me, right? You're lying, okay? Transparency and honesty. Be upfront about the reasons for changes and how they benefit the client. For example, share a case study where the new BBA helped the client secure a better deal. Be honest about any potential downsides, explaining how you'll help mitigate them. Personal connection. Build a personal connection by sharing your own experiences or testimonies from other clients. That's that liking and consensus, right? Use the client's name often. Not annoyingly weird. Okay? But the one word in our language we all love is our own name. And when someone says our name to us, it's impactful. You just have to know that strategy. Do you hear what I was saying there, Rick? Do you understand, Rick, how this will benefit you in this process? Now, Rick, this is an important point, right? So even though I said that like 4 times, it all still kind of flowed. The reason we don't use people's names is because we forgot the minute they sat down.
We say the wrong name.
Yeah, right? Yeah. As we discussed about your recent move, follow up with a personal note or message after the meeting to reinforce the relationship. This piece alone, this bottom piece, especially if you get them to sign the buyer-broker agreement, you need to send them something. Send them something that goes to their home. It doesn't have to be anything big, okay? Something like a tape measure, right? Hey, when we're out looking for property, you're going to need one of these. Wasn't sure if you had one. And have your little logo on it, you know what I mean? And it's something that they received from you, which elicits what? Reciprocity. You follow me? So, in my mortgage business, there's 3 points where we send something to the client. The first is at the approval. We send a big brownie to their office. Hey, congratulations, he's got a balloon and stuff, right? We want it like sitting there and then people to come up and be like, hey, where'd you get the balloon? Yeah. Oh, my mortgage guy just keeps sending me stuff. Right? So the approval, at contract, and at closing. So we send 3 things. $30 total for all of it. And every single thing that goes out, we get a call. Thank you. Keep that in mind. That brownie's $8. Little balloon's like $2. Okay? Very impactful. All right. Handling objections. There is a process to handling objections. Okay? The first thing you need to do is you need to repeat it back to them. You've got to repeat it. Hey, I understand you're concerned about paying 3%. Or I understand you're concerned if the seller's not going to pay for this 3%. It's a very valid concern. Tell me more about that. You need to get to the why they're saying that. It's probably because they barely had enough for the down payment in the first place. Okay? But I'm going to teach you guys something, and if you stick to this, you'll never have this issue. You'll know going into these meetings exactly what somebody can do. Okay? Really important. All right? And we'll go through it. So, handling objections effectively is key to maintaining client trust and moving forward smoothly. Anticipate common objections. We talked a lot about that in the beginning, didn't we? Overcome an objection when? Before it's an objection. So, in your sheets here that I created for y'all, there's pages of objections. Learn them. Learn them.
So, you cover in here that if they don't have the money, you cover that?
We're going to cover that.
Yeah, that's the biggie.
That's huge.
Yeah, that's huge, that's large.
That's huge. I got a process too. Okay. Anticipate common objections. Prepare for common concerns like, I don't want to pay extra for a realtor. Are they actually paying extra for a realtor? Or were they always and forever paying for the realtor? I need you to think about this.
Somebody was, yes.
Okay. Who?
The seller didn't come out of their pocket. The buyer, because they purchased their home.
Thank you. The buyer. Think about it.
Okay.
Think about it. Both listing agent and buyer agent commission is in what?
The purchase price.
The price of the home.
Oh, okay, got it.
If they both eliminated that and dropped the price, now the buyer's not paying for it, but the buyer's forever paid for this.
Yes. And they're purchasing
The buyer.
Forever, yeah.
Well, for as long as they own the home or until they pay it off. Yes or yes?
Yes.
Yes.
And did they actually pay 3%? Or did they pay 11%?
EPR, 6 more.
Do y'all know the rule of 72? Doubles every 6, right? 6 into 72 is 9 years, right? So that's 3 times. So 3 times 6 is what? 18. So what they pay for the commission?
I'm lost.
See, on those kind of things, I talk really fast, right? And I do this to clients too. Because when they get into like some objections and things like that, I want to shut that down quick. And that's how I do it. Okay? You've always been paying for the commission. Just didn't feel like it because it was financed. Period. Right? Okay. Okay. Empathy and understanding. Acknowledge the client's concern without dismissing them. For instance, say, I understand why this might seem like an added expense and it's natural to have concerns. Then reassure them. And this is the thing. When you go here, I understand why this might seem like an added expense. It's natural to have these concerns. You need to stop. You need to go back to the front and start rebuilding rapport. Why are you here? Are you here because you're paying me commission, or are you here because you want a home to live in? Right? Do you want a home or do you want a mortgage? Do you want a home or do you want to pay commission? You know what I'm saying? They want a home. At the end of the day, they want a home. We have to bridge the gap. The gap between they don't own a home to wanting to own a home, and then there's all this stuff in between that they don't understand. Okay? All this language makes it seem, and sometimes it's your fault. The way you speak to people, you make it seem like, now you have to pay me. God, I know. Trust me, I'm in these meetings. I hear how some of y'all talk. Not you. You guys got it all nailed. I know. You're not doing this, but I have seen it. And I've heard it. I've walked by rooms, because I'm in all these Realty One offices, right, across Arizona, California, and here. And I hear people talking to buyers. And I'm like, I literally want to walk in there and save them. I'm like, oh, bro, don't say that again, dude. Like, here, let me take over. I'm going to help you get this signed, right? Okay. All right, so you back up, you validate, you back up, you start over. As awkward as that's going to feel, if you don't do it, you lost them anyway. So you might as well practice. Okay? Reframe the conversation. Now, every single person in here grew up different. Would we all agree with that? Yes. I grew up literally 80s, street kid. Mom and dad didn't want us inside till lights came on. Like, it was like, how I'm not abducted or killed is, I don't know. Because seeing all the stuff today, like some of the stuff I got into, thank God there was no YouTube, right? I'd be famous for some crazy stuff. I have a specific belief system because of the things I've done in my life, how I was raised, the things I've learned, right? Which we've all learned and read different things. So we speak different. So the same word you hear that I say may mean something different to you than it means to me. Okay? You may get offended with the F word. It's just a natural part of my conversation. Right? Like, it just is. It's how I get a point across sometimes. Right? Okay? And there's a lot of different meanings.
In business, you use it in business?
No.
Good
No.
clarification.
Depends on who I'm talking to. If I've got a New Yorker that's kind of laying it on me, we're going at it, right? But it's all in jest. But no, I do watch my mouth. Reframe. This new structure allows me to fully focus on getting you the best deal, as my compensation is directly tied to your satisfaction. That's a huge statement. You want to say something like that up front. Provide evidence. Use data or examples to back up your points. Stay calm and patient. And the only way you're going to be able to stay calm and patient is if you practice a lot. Otherwise, you're going to be and ahhing. And you're going to be using the word like a lot. Nobody wants to hear that. You know what I'm saying? Nobody wants to hear that. You have to be clear. You have to be concise. Ready. Okay? You can only get there if you practice. All right? Okay. Strategies for your best self. By mastering these communication strategies, you ensure that clients understand and feel comfortable with the new buyer-broker agreement. This approach not only builds trust and rapport, but also positions you as a knowledgeable, supportive partner in the buying process. Okay? One thing we don't look at enough is that we are partners with these people. But ultimately, you work for them. Right? And sometimes you treat them like they work for you. Not you. You know what I mean? Salespeople. Right? I know more about this than you do. Just psh. That's how people get treated. Okay? And we've got to watch that. All right? So, we're going to practice. I'm going to teach you guys these scripts. You're going to practice with each other. Okay? Because if you can't do it in here in front of people, you're going to the bed.
What? What?
The bed.
Y'all got it.
I'm gonna wet the bed.
Oh,
You're
is
gonna-
that what that means?
Close enough. With the buyer when it's important. Okay, because I don't know if y'all put enough credit into how hard it is to get a buyer in front of you in the first place, let alone to blow it. Think about the number of conversations, the number of emails, the number of posts, the number, and then you get one. And you blow it. Because you didn't practice. Now, are we practicing these things to trick people? No. We're just getting good at explaining why me. Why me? And that's the most important thing. And some of you need work on your confidence because you lack confidence. I don't have that. I've never had that, right? Right, wrong, or indifferent, I'm very confident, okay? But I also practice a lot.
Yeah.
I'm very skilled at this stuff, and I love it. And I love trying new things and new techniques with people because I know at the end of the day, if they use me, they're better off in life. And I know that. I know. You'll see on a lot of my stuff, my tagline is, my advice makes a difference. Because it does. And I know it does. I've seen it change lives. And I can give them case history after case history after case history after case. You need to have that. If you don't have that, start to develop that. And pick something. If you don't have it in real estate, it's somewhere. But you've got to have the confidence to sit down with somebody after you just spent all this time, effort, and energy to get the person. Now you got him. And then he got him to sign the buyer-broker agreement. And not you. Because his script was better. Right? He said his why better than yours. He got granular with the process. They left knowing exactly what to expect and when. And that's all people want to know. What do I expect? Do you know why people hate doctors? Any doctors in here? Do you know why? Do you know why people hate doctors?
They give out
Tell them the
medicine.
truth.
They only give you medicine.
Hold on. What happens when you go to the doctor? Think about it. But when do they give you bad news? Like, later. First you got to go in and you're like, oh, I got a stomach ache. And you think you're dying, right? Like, I'm dying. And then they wait 3 weeks. They don't care how you think or feel. Nobody likes that. Nobody wants to wonder what's wrong. We want to know, doc. Yeah. So if you can be that for your buyers while they're with you and explain this process through telling stories, because that's how people remember things, through storytelling, you will win at this game. And you'll get, I don't know if you'll get 100% of them signed, but it'll be close. You'll be better than everyone else, which is where you want to be, yes? Okay, y'all paired off? Nobody moved. Pair off. You need to be in pairs. Okay, everybody's got the handout. Okay. All right, everybody got a partner now? All right. We're going to go through this together first. Yeah. Okay. All right. Buyer agent or buyer agent. Right? And then you're going to use these scripts. They're different. Okay? And then flip. Grade each other. The winner is going to stand and tell why. Did everybody get that? So, one of you is the buyer, one of you is the agent, and then you're going to, we're doing this first one first. First one first. So one of you is the buyer, one of you is the agent, and then flip. And then flip.
Yes.
Okay? And whoever wins is going to stand and tell why. Why were you the winner? Who had the better? Who gave the script better? We're practicing. All right.
Page 1 to the end.
We're starting with the introductory script 1. Okay, up here real quick. Real quick. Okay. Look on the bottom below the script. Okay. Tonality. With an upbeat, confident tone to build rapport. Certainty. Express the change as a positive adjustment. This is how you're going to speak the script. How you say something is as equal to what you're saying. How? What is your tone? What is your body language? Are you aggressive or are you open? Okay? Control. Maintain control of the conversation by guiding the client through the explanation. Now, I want the buyer to throw out an objection. Okay? Just throw out an objection. You do your script, and then the buyer do an objection. The agent try to overcome the objection. Okay? All right, go ahead. Read it. The script. Now, you can pick an objection. Yeah. Yeah, this one. Yep. There you go.
Rather than being in the seller, this adjustment needs to be more transparency to the process and ensure that we can provide you with the best possible service. We will guide you to every step of this process and answer any questions you might have. Objection.
Hard at work.
I want to take a moment to explain That's why. Directed by you.
All my friends that bought a house before, they have a business.
All right, how we doing? Did everybody get through? You two are having too much fun over here. I can imagine.
If I don't have it, what do I have my 2%? What happened? She said, I need to see your financial statement.
That's one way to weed them out.
Just like before, I was somebody paying me
Okay.
Well, I think that will come up.
In the event that
Okay, they just sent it to you just recently? Right. So they told you we have to, yeah, doesn't
Did you guys get through it?
Yeah, we are into it.
Yeah.
Script too. Yeah, we're getting there.
Did you get it?
We're getting there.
You both do it?
Yeah.
Okay.
She's good. She's getting
She's good?
Yep.
Oh, you just don't want to get up. I see you. I see you.
We are practicing. We're also discussing, I'm showing. We're old, I'm old age. We're 40 years. We are.
I'm on power.
We're training. We're training. I have a team.
You're lucky right now, pal. All right, back up here. All right. We're going to start over here. Who's the clear winner? Okay. All right.
I don't know. You can ask all your questions.
All right. Stand up.
She did great.
Stand up. Now, tell us about what you just went through and the process of that script practice. Okay?
As I'm the agent.
Both.
Both.
All of it.
Oh.
Yes.
Okay, so where do you, okay, so.
Start with the agent.
As the agent.
Mm-hmm.
I can tell you, she explained everything to me thoroughly,
Mhm.
because I had objections, and she did great answering them, so, but when it came to me, she picked me apart. So I think she did really good, so.
Okay. What did she do that was, like, what stuck out?
She's got experience, 40 years in real estate. I
Okay.
don't. And so she knew what to say. She knew how to say it. I was actually struggling. Like, she was giving me objections. I was like, holy crap, like, I didn't know where to go. But she had answers that I didn't.
Okay.
Okay, I think this is it. I have many years of experience, and it'll cost, oh gee, I don't think I can do it. I will save you a lot of money. That was the main gist of it.
Mm-hmm.
I will walk you through the process. I will make sure that the inspections are done on time and correctly, and
What was the objection she gave you? Was it, I don't want to pay for an agent?
no, we didn't get there.
You didn't?
Yeah.
Mm.
It was, well, what do you mean the real estate business has changed? That was.
That was it. Okay.
And then the
Okay.
second one was, what do you mean it'll cost me more? What does that mean?
Oh,
Gotcha.
yes, we did get there.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, we did get there.
Good.
Yeah.
She's just very nervous. I don't know if you guys get that.
No. This is great. Listen, because you're going to have to go through this.
She said she
She's
didn't
really
have the
good.
money. I said, can I see your financial statement?
That's who has to wait for it.
Now, that's awesome. Some of y'all can get away with that. Thank you so much. Hey, so what did you think about that process of practice? Because this is the first thing, this is the first time.
Yeah, there's still a lot of unclarities.
As you do this live, right? So in the military, we practice a lot, like
Right.
a lot. And I was infantry in the 82nd Airborne, so we were in everything there is, right? So you practice a lot. Why? Why don't they just hand you a rifle and go that way?
Good luck of all skill. That's why.
Say that louder.
Repetition is the mother of all skill. That's why you practice. Without practice.
It's muscle memory. You end up developing these trigger points that you don't even know you have. It just is because you've done it so
And that's
much.
how I was the first time with her.
Now,
Right.
Very good.
I want you to think of something really quickly. Are any of you professional coaches?
No.
Okay. I am.
I would say I am.
Now, but you're working with somebody who, not a professional coach, whatever, but you're going to get as much out of it as you would if you hired a professional coach, because you're going to be constantly practicing and learning off of each other. Like, you picked up something from her for sure, right? You actually said that. And as you go through these meetings with buyers, you're going to be adding to this. Oh, that's a new one. I hadn't heard that one yet. I've got to go check with my parakeet. Okay, that's new. Right? You're going to hear it. Okay. How about here?
My objection is I didn't want to pay extra. So,
You don't want to pay extra. Okay.
Yeah.
How'd she do?
So she tried to convince me that she'll find a seller to
Pay it. Okay.
for it.
Okay. I'm so glad you said that. So, he said his objection was, I don't want to pay it. Her overcoming the objection, I'm going to get the seller to pay it. Is that about right?
Yeah.
Try to find a seller.
Try to find out.
I'll try to find the seller that's going to pay it. Now, I caution you doing that. Why?
That's the whole point of the lawsuit, that we're not supposed to know what the commissions were. That was the spirit of the lawsuit. That's why they pulled it out of the MLS. You call around, somebody's gonna report you, and you may get fined. I don't know if that's the case, but we saw people posting the week after this went into effect. I got fined, whatever,
And you're going
$1,000
to.
for calling the agent.
Is that right?
Okay. Let me ask.
Okay, can I ask, what if the
agent calls you,
What I do is
I mean,
tell them.
what if the agent doesn't ask, but you as
You can
the
call it out.
listing agent
Yeah.
say, oh, by the way, my seller is offering commission?
No.
You're gonna go
Well,
around
that's
and get
different.
it.
Can you-
what
Your
if you
seller,
change
you're
his
hired by the
mind?
seller,
Well,
he's
no,
giving you permission.
Now, that's tricky
to
too,
reveal it.
because
Yeah.
you're not allowed to put it in the contract. So
What I
the
do-
seller could change his mind.
And
Yeah.
it's
So
called
that's very
concessions,
tricky.
not commissions anymore.
So you
It's
really can't
concessions.
say
Well,
that.
that's, yes,
Yes.
I got that.
Yeah.
I
No,
got
but what I do, I tell the agent, write it in your offer, and then I'll present it to the seller.
Yeah,
And he
just-
makes a decision.
Yeah.
Okay,
Well, that is all we have.
all right.
That's what we got.
Come back with me. Come back. Come back.
I'll take it.
I'm gonna teach you something, and you need to know this. I'm so glad this came up. What this is telling me is that you guys need to learn how to overcome objections. You really need to learn the process of it. Okay? We went through it. I'm gonna go back, okay? What does all this say?
Anticipate the common objections, and empathy and understanding.
Say,
I don't think it's extra.
I understand why this expense might be, right? What we all want to do is take the path of least resistance, which is, listen, I'm going to try to find a seller to cover this. And then he's going to go, oh, okay.
Can we say that? Okay, because I'm really hung up on this right now.
I'm just saying. And then I'll get into that in a minute.
Okay.
We got to learn the process of overcoming objections. The process is, did you repeat it back to him first? Did you show empathy and understanding? Did you reframe it?
I did. You did.
Did she? Think about this. Okay, think about it. He says, I don't want to pay that fee. I say, listen, I completely understand that you don't want to pay that fee. We're not here for you to pay that fee. We're here for you to buy a house.
Wow.
What did I do? I reframed it. That's all I did.
Right.
That's good. So let's.
But can I diverge, and I know
Please.
I know you're talking about handling objections. I don't go out with buyer until I have a 1-hour office consult first.
Which you should be in this anyway.
Anyway,
Yeah.
if you're not-
100%.
If new agents, if you're not doing that. do
This is okay. So, by the way, this is all about doing that.
Okay,
Yeah,
but
makes sense.
let
We
me
have
get to
to.
where I always briefly go over the RPA. And so now we're gonna go over that, and there's gonna be that section on commission. I certainly can discuss the contract we're gonna fill out.
Sure, 100%.
And say, oh, by the way, here is where we have the potential. We have not the path, or whatever I wanna say it, I'll think of a good word.
Sure.
Pretty good word. We have the opportunity to ask the seller, to cover that commission, which we spoke about in the change.
Okay.
So,
Love it.
yeah.
I love it. And that is a part of the presentation I'm building for y'all, is the contract. Like, the contract is in that present. You need to be going over that before you ever go out and show them
CMA,
something.
Contract.
CMA,
Contract.
all of it, yes, 100%.
Not maybe every form, but nowadays probably every form.
Every form.
Yeah.
I would be
No, I'm talking about before looking, not before writing.
100%.
send
I would be looking,
all paperwork to my client.
I would be looking to overcome every objection before it became an objection. And the big objection is going to be, he has to pay me 3%. That's the big objection.
Yeah.
And I need to overcome that first. And the way we're going to do that is by, number one, learning how to talk about it. We got to learn how to talk about it.
Yes.
And we have to learn how to talk about it with extreme confidence. Which also starts with, are you worth 3%?
You bet.
You bet? Okay. You?
Negotiable?
Oh, you negotiable?
Well, I do.
Everybody don't know.
Just follow me where I'm going with this.
Yeah.
You have to believe that first
Yeah.
before you can ever ask for it.
This is what I say to them, and I've had quite a few buyers agreements signed. Straight up, I don't make the law, I follow the law.
Yeah.
And this is what it states. This been
It's not
or not a law. I follow the rules, right? This is the rule. There's been some changes to our business, and this is what need to be signed prior to me taking you out. Honestly.
Or you have to, you
And I don't know, and they all agree, okay, and then I tell them, okay, in the event the seller doesn't pay the commission, you have to pay it. I don't know, I didn't sign, I'm just straightforward like that.
You know what, though?
I might be in trouble because.
That was really confident.
I'm confident.
And confident-
I don't work for free, and I tell them that. I don't work for
Confidence
free.
breeds trust
Yes.
all day.
And all
If
the
you said that
time
to me, I'd be like, okay.
Yeah. I
Yeah,
have to
that
be
makes sense.
confident. I work free. I don't work for free.
Was that all legal?
I
That's
don't
the
go
most
through all
important
these.
question.
You can't get me into legal stuff. I don't know. I toe the line anyway. I know it's important. That stuff, like
That's important.
the words on seller paying and things like that. Can the seller pay it?
I can't.
Whoa. Can the seller pay it? Yes.
Yes.
Okay, so how do we talk about that? We're going to negotiate it when up front, when we submit your offer. In the event that they're only paying X, here's what is due.
Yes.
But you need to know these things up front.
Can I
Yes.
go back to the legal question?
Yeah.
About the legality of getting fined? Are we allowed to say, and your script says will, and I said to them, why are we saying will? It's more of a may. It's more of a may to me, but again, I don't, I'm a very seasoned agent, licensed in 87, I mean, I'm old. But boy, this is interesting. My mother's turning over in her grave right now, she's a huge realtor. But anyway, are we allowed to say, our purchase contract has a mechanism where we are allowed to request commission to be paid by the seller? Are we allowed to say that? I mean, what are we?
Why couldn't you? Yeah, of course. Because they are. And that's all, yes.
But then I heard who was getting fined?
People had posted on social media.
It's because they posted what they're paying.
Oh, yeah. Oh, that I know. I thought you
The
meant.
selling agent to ask him what the commission was. Because, yes, that's what we were told. And I asked him, are we allowed to do that? He says, yeah, you can. So-called selling agent.
How are you going to know? How are you going to know if the seller, you're not supposed to know?
Until you put it
I
in
know, that's why I'm right there with you.
I thought we're supposed to put it in
It's
the,
a big secret.
I thought it's supposed to be in the offer.
Yeah, you put it in the offer. There's a concession. Yeah. But you're not supposed to call.
So they want you to submit an offer and what you're asking for.
So here's what I'm
Okay.
saying, is the seller is anticipating, and my seller is,
Yeah.
you know,
Pay.
Yeah. Because
So,
I received
but that
offers
doesn't
on
mean
my
they
listing
will. Wait, let
and
me
asked for
finish.
3%.
Let
I
me
mean,
finish.
we counter it at whatever the seller is offering. Is
That
that
does-
0 or 2.5%,
Okay,
and
but
you decide from there.
That doesn't mean they will, because it depends on the offer.
Yeah,
So you have
Yeah.
to finish it with that.
yeah, okay.
When we were in the MLS meeting, or it was a big training, they told us we weren't allowed to call the selling agent to ask that specific question, because then you'll steer your clients to only one
First of all, you have
commission.
to
I got it, that does make
Goes
sense, no.
against
That makes sense, yeah.
the spirit of the negotiation.
Yeah.
So just put it in the offer and use it and say it's concessions, not
Yeah,
commission.
exactly.
And that's all we were told.
Can
Then-
I go one step further?
Yeah.
I'm the listing agent, and as a buyer's agent, I always call, I throw the fishing line in and say, hey, I got a client interested, what
Yes.
can you tell me? And then I let them
Yes.
have diarrhea in the mouth, you know,
Exactly.
it's so awesome.
Yes.
Yeah,
Say,
and
they're
so
so-
some agents
Anyway, my mother taught me well. Thank you, Mom. Bless you. Anyway, when I get that call as a listing agent, I know we're here kind of on the buyer side, am I allowed to say to that agent, am I allowed as a listing agent to say to the agent, oh, by the way, I've got a wonderful motivated seller, and guess what? They're offering 3%. Am I
As
allowed
long
to
as
say?
you're selling,
You can say
are allowed
as long as
agents
you don't have it
to-
in the evidence.
I'll let them figure this out.
Yeah, you need to listen to this, because you asked it, I told you earlier.
I know, but I can't hear you if
It's not-
everyone else is
If
talking.
it's not in the contract, if it's not already, and it's not allowed to be, the seller could change his mind.
I get that, I
Well,
understand.
that's very important.
Okay, no, I
It depends on
understand.
the offer.
I haven't had this come up I mean, we're all in new
So
territory.
we're
Let's
really,
see.
we're all in very,
Yeah.
we had no,
So now the book answer will be, send me your offer, ask for the
That's
commission, have your buyer ask
Here's
for.
what I said. The
Okay.
seller and I have had this conversation, and he's negotiable. Bring in a good offer and we're fine.
Because it does change according to
That's
the
exactly
No,
offer.
that's, I'm right there with you. I think that is, yeah.
Okay,
Yeah. Wish my list.
that was fun. All right,
Normal.
Thank you.
okay. And all the legal, all this stuff's great. You guys need to get with Tim and have a class. Today, we want to learn how to sell this. Because not every seller is going to pay it. And what are you going to do?
That's true.
What are you going to do?
That's true.
Are you just going to cave? You need to know how to do this. Now, listen, because we're running out of time.
Yes.
You guys are, I thought I was bad. Y'all are hard to keep track. Okay, listen. I know.
Just kidding, I'm kidding.
On objection, the process is you repeat it, you empathize, and you reframe. Okay? Repeat it. I heard you.
I understand.
That says a lot because salespeople, you want to go into the why you don't think I'm worth it.
No, I understand.
Listen, I understand. And I understand how that could be a concern.
I try not to say I agree with you. I prefer
I
to say,
understand.
I understand your concerns.
I understand your concern.
Yep.
Repeat what they said.
Yeah.
I understand your concern that, you think this is going to cost you more to buy a home now. Here's the facts. Okay? It's really easy to do this stuff if you follow the process. Okay? You're going to get these objections. Now, I'm going to give you something. I'm going to give you a process that will help you immensely with your buyers moving forward. If you don't have your buyer talk to your lender before you do your presentation, you're crazy.
For sure.
Why?
You don't know what you got.
You don't know what you got. You just asked her for a financial statement.
Yep.
Right? Now, you send a buyer. you send a buyer, right? You're like, hey, Bill is looking to buy a 4-bedroom home. He thinks he can afford, around $500,000. Give him a call. My meeting is with him on Friday. Okay? Perfect. The lender's job is to make sure they qualify. We all understand this. Well, do we also know that we need to make sure that they can cover you too?
Yep.
You do know that we see you as a closing cost now. Do you understand that? No. Nope. When somebody asks me what the closing costs are on a loan now, I used to say 2.5%. Now I say 6%. Literally. It flipped overnight.
So we need to recommend you on cash deals as well.
If you're not recommending me on every deal, you're nuts. I say 6%. Okay? 6%. Okay? Now, that's thing one. I walk them through this process very delicately. I can do that. When your buyer comes back to you from me, they're ready for your buyer broker agreement at 3%.
That's terrific.
Like they're ready.
That's terrific.
This is a live example. Realty One agent. He's one of my favorite people. He was my first agent I worked with in 1999. He just got his license. I just got my license. And he sent me a client, and I've been training this, so obviously I do it, right? So I ran through it. She's asking about the closing costs. I'm like, here's already closing, and I had his on there, 3%. I don't even know if he was going to do 3%. I use 3%, just in case, right? 3% is your agent, blah, 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 and here's your total. 25% down, plus your closing costs, here's your cash to close. Okay. Yeah, so when you go meet with Eric on Friday, he's going to have you sign an agreement. That's what allows him to show you homes. Okay, cool. Fast forward. He takes her out. And I'm curious as hell if he signed the agreement and what he asked for, right? I'm like, hey, how'd the buyer broker agreement go? And he goes, oh man, I didn't do it. Her friend was right there, and I'm like, dude, you've been at this long as I have, and I already sold it. What are you doing? He's like, I know. Took her out again, and I'm like, he had to have gotten it that time. Nope. So this is a 25-year veteran who's sold hundreds of homes. So it's when you're in the fight that you're scared. The anticipation of the fight, you haven't been hit yet. But when that person is standing in front of you, that's when you just lose it all. Everything is out the window. That's why you have to train and know your process. Yes. Know the process. Bullet point your scripts. Okay? First, and let's say we're just getting into the buyer broker agreement. The first thing I'm going to do is I'm going to talk about the why. Mm-hmm. Then I'm going to talk about the how. Then the what. Then the when. You following the who, what, when, where, why? It's really easy to learn scripts if you use a process. And if you bullet point key words, not phrases. You don't need the whole phrase. You only need a word to trigger the memory. Okay? But you've got to learn these techniques and understand that when you go through these processes, it's going to feel awkward when you do it the first time. It's going to feel salesy. But I'm telling you, the people are going to feel heard by you. And that's what you want. You want them to leave you excited to work with you. That they know you're going to do your best to get a seller to cover everything and all that. But at least I'm prepared. At least I know what I need. And if I need less, hero. That's why I say in the script it says you will pay. Right? Because I don't want you to think you're not going to pay. I don't want to lead you down a path to where I don't get paid. I don't want to make you think that there's any moment in this transaction that I'm not going to get paid. I don't want you to think that. So I'm not going to allude to that at all. Listen, we're going to get the seller to pay for it. What if you don't?
Yeah, that's slippery slope.
You're roasted. Because the house that, I promise you, it's Murphy's Law. The house they find is going to be the one where the seller's not going to pay nothing.
Absolutely.
And what are you going to do then? You going to rip up your agreement? Are you going to take them to court? You see what I'm saying? You're so stuck.
What are we going to do then? Because that was my buyer's objection. I don't have the money. I don't want to lose the house because
Well, actually, she just handled it. He said he's got finance, and if they're cash, then they would have the
So-
I gave her the spiel with the higher rate, but not everybody's going to go about it.
Now,
Are they VA?
Yes.
now here, so
That was the play.
here is why I said talk to the lender first, because you won't have that objection if you already know out of the gate what they can do. I also have one right now, approved. They're out shopping.
She said, I don't want to pay a higher rate, right?
No. But if it came to, I would have already done all that.
cost would have been included.
I understand.
Because it is a cost.
Okay, now don't.
Now, I have a client right now. They're out, literally out shopping. He had barely enough for the down payment. Well, are there not costs? There's appraisals, there's title fees. I mean, that goes on, right? So he was $8,000 short. We're at a $400,000 price point. We need 2% minimum just to get the deal without the realtor. And I told him, I'm like, look, the only homes that you're going to be able to look at are where they're going to pay 5%. And you need to find those homes. And he's like, okay. I go, but that's their job. Don't worry about that. They'll find it. But if you find one where they won't, you're going to have to come up with another $12,000.
And, you know, interesting enough, right now, listings aren't flying off the shelf, folks. So there's an opportunity.
We got a small window.
It's probably, I know we
I agree.
I know we did, but I'm just saying.
Totally agree.
Why do you say that?
Because rates on September 18th, they will get cut. It's a 42% chance that it's going down a half a point now. It was 25% last Friday, by the way. Now it's 42% in 5 days.
If you're watching the Realty One Facebook page, people are commenting just, it's dreadfully slow with listings. But that's kind of a good opportunity for buyers to say, hey, I mean, I got a listing they're offering for $10,000 for a buy down or whatever, you know, and they're offering to pay commission, obviously we can't say that, but.
Yeah.
So it is kind of funny that we have this kind of lull where we do have an opportunity for that guy who needs.
You know what you can put in your remarks is seller offering 2% concessions for buyer's closing costs. Now, if you put, now listen, what's part of, now, if they're offering 2% in closing cost concessions, what are they also paying? You all.
It has to shut concessions out.
I know. And I'm talking about closing costs. I'm not talking about commission. I'm talking closing costs, but you can put in there, like your seller's offering $10,000. If it's a $500,000 property, client offering 2%, I'm just saying.
No, I know, I agree.
Client offering 2% towards buyer's closing costs or buy down. If I'm a buyer's agent, I also know they're going to pay buyer's agent commission too if that's on there. That's a motivated seller to me.
Right, yeah, exactly.
Can I
Right?
add something for the
Yeah.
lady in the back?
Uh-huh.
You know how you were saying that they were saying they just don't want to pay it? But they go to any other realtor, it's gonna be the same thing. It may not be 3%, it may not be 2.5%, no matter what, because they moved our cheese. This is the way it's
Yeah,
gonna be
so
going
I
forward.
have a conversation, guys, like what would you go directly to the buyers, to the listing agent?
Yeah.
What would you wanna do, not wanna work with an agent at all?
Yeah.
Because, you know, there's a lot of things you can answer back to those
Yeah.
objections. But the problem is that we will not know who are those sellers that will pay 5%.
You're not going to know.
Until
You do
the
not.
buyer is ready to make an offer and he loves that house and all the emotional thing is there and they finally make the offer and you know. And
You know what?
at that moment it's too late.
It's the game we're in.
We're gonna write a lot more offers.
You show them before you show the house.
That's the game we're in, guys. And by the way, that hasn't changed. That hasn't changed. That's been since I've been in the business. That's been
It's
right.
always the same, just like if they gonna pay a closing costs or not.
100%.
You still have to ask for that.
100%.
You call the agent first, the listing agent.
Yeah. What? Listen. This.
We're screwed.
I don't look at it that
I think. Listen. I think you all.
ever.
I think you all have the biggest opportunity
Exactly.
you've ever had in
I
real
agree.
estate,
How many times I've
and I
been
believe
a
that
buyer,
hands down. All right.
you know?
We're almost done. Okay. I think we got through most of this stuff. Okay. Wait, let's go back. One. Okay. I'm going to leave you with this. Build resilience. How do you build resilience? You practice. You get your teeth kicked in. You get knocked down and you get back up.
There you go.
Metaphorical teeth kicked in, right? The buyer said, I'm not paying, and they left.
Yep.
And then they went and paid somebody.
Yep.
That's teeth kicked in.
Yep.
Okay? Self-discipline helps you preserve in the face of challenges. It enables you to bounce back from setbacks and keep moving forward no matter the obstacle in your path.
Yes.
Discipline.
Yep.
What are